You see how things age. You do. You see how nature will rapidly take over. Do you ever follow any of those Facebook pages that are like abandoned places or abandoned spaces or whatever?
Yeah.
And you're like, there's a house with a jungle over it. That jungle's going to happen quicker than you realize.
Yeah.
Okay?
I feel judged here.
Yeah. Vegetation is, if you don't mow your lawn or take care of your roof for a few years, people may not be able to see your house from the street anymore. Okay? So things don't maintain themselves. Houses don't maintain themselves. And it happens a lot faster than people realize, you know?
Yeah.
I think sometimes, and I see this every once in a while, sometimes people, and I'm glad that it isn't the majority. If someone's going to buy a house and that's what they really want, then that's great. But I think some people get to a point in a real estate transaction where they realize that they're happier being renters. There's advantages. I rent right now.
Yeah.
I do. You know, and I maintain things. I like my grass to be green. I am Clint Eastwood in a way. Get off my lawn.
That's awesome.
But, you know, there's something to be said about being able to turn off the water and let it go and not have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Owning a home has a lot of rewards, and it also has a lot of responsibilities as well. The house cannot paint itself. If you don't paint it, it's going to rot. Probably. Trim's going to rot. If you don't maintain the roof, moss is going to grow all over it.
Yeah.
It's going to leak eventually. Building components aren't. You gotta be there for it. You gotta take care of it. One of the things that comes up a lot of times on early, and we're seeing less of it now because by this point, you know, you get to a 1994 house or 1983 house. It's 30 years old, and people have replaced it. But 10, 15 years ago, when that house was 10 or 15 years old, and we were looking at 10, 15-year-old roofs and 10, 15-year-old furnaces and air conditioners and first generation LP Louisiana Pacific siding, you know, that was involved in litigation. That first generation so-called material was involved in litigation, and for, you know, to make it simple, it's very prone to decay. Mushrooms will grow off of it. It'll delaminate. You can go up to the material. A lot of times the paint will look fine. You can just poke a hole in it. Is that a siding problem or a people problem? Well, consumers will say that's a company problem. That's a siding problem.
Yeah.
And they won. Honestly, it's a people problem. People are unwilling to pay for things like stone, copper, things that like castles and pyramids were built out of that are still standing.
Yeah.
Okay? We want the cheapest possible product.
Yeah.
And then we want to not maintain it. And then in the worst of those scenarios, we want to sue the companies when that product fails. A product that is meant to be maintained by you.
Yeah.
I went to this house one time 7 or 8 years ago. Guy owned it, 1992, had first generation LP siding on it. It was flawless. It was in impeccable condition. And he happened to be there. And if a seller's there, I try to not ignore them.
Right.
Like, your house, what did you do here? He's like, is this your original siding? Yeah, it is original. How?
Yeah.
How is your siding in this good a condition? I know what I'm gonna probably find. He said, every year, 1 day a year, I get out a can of paint. I don't do a lot of preparation. I spend 1 day, less than 8 hours, and I paint one side of the house. I put it away, and I'm done. And then the next year I do the other side, and the next year I do the other side, and the next year I do the other side. 1 day a year to maintain his several $100,000 investment.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
His siding, shockingly, was flawless.
Wow.
Okay.
Can't say that very often.
He spent less time, probably,
Yeah.
not having to do. No, he's not spraying the house. He's not having to mask everything off. He spent less time doing that, and his siding was flawless. Is it a siding problem or a people problem?
Interesting.
If you never go on your roof and you never have anybody else go on your roof and the roof leaks, is that a roofing problem or a people problem? You know?
Makes sense.
So you got to take care of your property. And if
Wow.
you're not prepared to do it, then be prepared to pay the rent so that someone else
Right.
can hopefully maintain your property for you.
Yeah. But you're right. People aren't willing to spend the money to go with products often that are more tried and true long term
Right.
than, it's what's the new thing that I can cut a corner and hopefully have
Yeah.
it be good and last.
Right. If you're going to go for siding product
Yeah.
that will last the longest, that's contemporary and requires the least amount of maintenance, hardy plank, cement fiber material.
Yeah.
Okay, it's made out of cement and fiber, and it will actually delaminate to a degree. It can do that. I've seen it rot in a sense. But if you're going to neglect siding, like that's the best
That's
siding
the
to
one.
neglect that's
Yeah.
typically put on a modern home. Second to that, probably vinyl. But if it requires paint, it needs you, man. Like that siding needs you.
Yeah.
It can't do it. It's asking for your attention.
That's
so
funny.
you got to use caulking. You got to use painting.
That's
Paint,
funny.
You got to do it.